Before the show starts, this is Butch Popeye Moss with Texas Biker Radio. First of all, I'd like to say hi and thank you to our new subscribers. We've now gone over 5,000 subscribers. That's a great thing. What we want you to know is we are a club, a motorcycle club, Sons of Liberty Riders MC. That first of all, we are defenders of the Constitution and those who have had their constitutional rights violated. That could include motorcycles. That could include just regular everyday citizens that find themselves in dire straits because their government has turned on them. And so we'd like to invite you to hang with us. 2020 is going to be exciting. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We're not afraid to go to these law enforcement entities and ask them what's up, what's going on, why MCs, why motorcyclists. And so you'll see as we go along here that we are big about exposing the corruption that exists in our courts in Texas and across the nation. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, by the way, you got anything special you want to talk about?
Not really. I'll just follow your lead.
Oh, hell. Okay. It's like talking to geezer. I have to assign you guys some shit.
I've been out of the loop for a while, man.
Yeah, well, that's true. All right, man. Here we go. Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio, number 383. My name is Mel Popeye Moss, and my co-host, Mel OG Robbins. We are with you each and every week on this Texas Biker Radio news station, and we are with Sons of Liberty Riders MC, who are defenders of the Constitution and those who've had their constitutional rights violated. And good evening, Mel. How are you doing?
Doing well. Just, sitting here kind of watching things develop in the Middle East. And trying to figure out how I can convert my motorcycle back to a carburetor and points.
Yeah. Oh, for the simple days.
Because I'll tell you, I heard an old quote here. I think it was today or yesterday, Albert Einstein, where he said, I really don't know what kind of weapons are going to be used in World War III.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but I guarantee you World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah. You got that right. But we'll be talking about the goofballs over in Iran here in a little bit. But right now, Mel, I want to kick off everything with, let's start with the Dallas police. This weekend, or this first week of 2020, we're really off to a good start in the shootings and murders in the streets of the Dallas, Fort Worth, and North Texas area. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
We have a 1-year-old baby. Well, wait a minute. He's almost 2, fixing to turn 2, that was killed in his bed due to a drive-by shooting. And it was that the police claim that drive-by was deliberate. And well, of course, I want everybody to take notice. This is not motorcycle clubs doing any of this kind of stuff.
In other words, the house was a target.
Yes, the house.
An occupant of that house was a target.
Exactly, Mel. And of course, the Dallas police chief, Renee Hall, I think is her name. She hails from Detroit, where that's another screwed up place. And of course, she's no RoboCop. But Mel, I find it interesting. I really find it interesting that a big part of her plan to reduce crime on the streets of Dallas, and and it runs further than the streets of Dallas. It runs to the whole Metroplex and the North Texas area. But a part of her big plan is databases. Freaking databases. Go ahead.
That is insane. Absolutely insane. We're still trying to find out what is the exact criteria to be put in the database. I mean, I guess I can understand if certain organizations are specifically named as a tier whatever gang.
Yeah.
Then the odds of them being in that, any member of that organization being in the database is probably 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But this goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
This goes to where, some poor girl could be out on a date with somebody that's in that gang database, and just like that story we heard about in California, because this poor gal was out with somebody that happened to be in a database, she ended up being in the database, and she didn't even know what in the hell was going on.
Exactly.
So again, what is the freaking criteria to get your name put in the database? Who makes that determination? Who makes those entries?
Yeah.
Now, and my very next question is, if DPS will appear in a court of law and basically state, and I'm saying this verbatim, so I may need correction here, but if they will state that the criminal database cannot be used in a form that makes you think that anybody that is in that database is some kind of a criminal and has been convicted of a crime.
Right.
So that really begs the question of, why does that database even exist? I mean, I would think if you're out there committing violent crime and you get caught and arrested, that is when your name would go in a database.
Yeah.
As some kind of a violent offender.
Yes.
Anything other than that, I think, really infringes on everybody's constitutional rights. That's my take on it.
OG, what we see going on here is because of the 209 murders we had last year. And really, that's not a record. I think the record was really around 500 a few years back, a ways back. But we had 209 last year, carrying on like crazy about it, and in particular, certain neighborhoods. But really, you look out there, and it's not just that neighborhood. It's freaking everywhere. And, whether it's gang-related or whether it's our general population, which is drug-infested. And nobody's willing to really do anything to eradicate that problem. The money's so great, and the potential out there for somebody to make a quick buck, and especially those that are in neighborhoods that may not have ready available jobs, or maybe they don't have transportation to get to those jobs. Although I find that incredible for anybody that really wants to work. But this is a knee-jerk reaction. There's great pressure on this police chief, on this police department. And Mel, bringing in the DPS is not a freaking answer. You can't bring those bunch of cowboys into this city and expect them to know what in the hell's going on, and especially when they're ready to shoot and kill. Like,
Yeah, because it's not their turf. They're not familiar with what's going on, who's who, and what's more important is nobody's going to trust them.
yeah,
You know, one of the greatest attributes of a beat cop used to be everyone got to know the guy,
mm-hmm,
good, bad, or indifferent,
yep,
and they either got to know him good enough to trust him, or they got to know him good enough to stay away from him.
mm-hmm,
But you know, that was the attribute of the beat cop.
yeah,
And those days are long gone. And now we deal with, okay, let's bring in the stormtroopers from Austin.
yeah. Well, Mel, the governor approves the DPS to come to Dallas and help out up here where there was a shortage of cops, about 1,000 back in, they were saying back during the summer. Now they bring in these 2 DPS officers and they come in, they get assigned South Dallas. Well, right off the bat, we have these 2 DPS officers that does a traffic stop for failure to give a turn signal. And I guess the young man that was in the car had a gun in the car, and so they proceeded to shoot him 16 times.
Uh-oh.
16! Now, we had a guy over here in Fort Worth where that guy came into that church that shot that man once in the head.
Hmm.
Now we got these 2 guys that unload on him. That sounds to me, Mel, either overkill or 2 scared freaking law officers. Scared to death, working in the South Dallas neighborhood.
Sounds to me like they weren't, you know, it could be they weren't screened well enough when they applied for the job. They weren't trained well enough. And I mean, you know, you can't take these guys straight out of school and throw them on the street. You got to put them with a good officer that's going to teach them the right and wrong.
Exactly.
Of how to conduct yourself, how to protect yourself, how to protect citizens, and how to take down the felon.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't see any of that going on in knee-jerk reaction areas like Dallas.
Yeah. You know, Mel, you and I have talked many times. We were both in the alarm business as technicians, and you know,
Yep.
South Dallas is my area. Now, there are some bad elements over there, but let me tell you, there's also a lot of good people. And you know, they expect not only the police officers to protect them, help them out, and you know, be a good officer. But when they come in there blazing away, that destroys everything they've built. And especially when you have a mom out there saying that they gunned her son down like an animal. Matter of fact is, some would say worse than an animal. With 16 shots to the body, the torso, the leg, the head. Unbelievable stuff. It's all a knee-jerk reaction. Gang databases are the last thing they need, Mel. I mean, look at Chicago. They got gang databases out the yin-yang. Has that had any effect on what's going on up there? Has it had any effect on what's going on across the nation?
Which reminds me, we need to find out whatever happened. It was my understanding from Bill Smith that somebody up in Chicago filed some kind of a lawsuit over those databases up there.
Yeah.
And we never heard another thing. I think it would be interesting to know, is this ongoing? Did anything happen? What's up?
You mean tell you?
No, but you know what? We'll see him at the next Council of Clubs meeting.
Okay, then I won't tell you. We'll save that for the next show.
To talk to him.
We'll
which reminds me, let me pop in here with, Texas Council of Clubs is a good friend of Sons of Liberty Riders,
right.
MC, and in fact has helped us on many occasions with some of our campaigns by giving us some funding so we could run ads, pay for ads and things like that.
Yeah.
So they have sponsored us, and they do continue to sponsor us. It's a hell of an organization. It's, all the independents and the mom and pop, independent MCs, support MCs. We all get together bi-monthly for a Texas Council of Clubs and Independents meeting. And what happens there is, we talk about legislation that's going on. If Bill Smith is there, and he's there 99.9% of the time, he will get up and he will reiterate to everyone what your rights are, how to conduct yourself if you're stopped, et cetera, et cetera. Just invaluable information. And like I said, those meetings are held bi-monthly. We're having the first one of the year this month, the third Sunday at the Moose Lodge in Arlington.
Yep.
And you can go to the website, cocdfw.com. It's on the calendar with an address. We encourage everyone to come. Every independent rider out there needs to come. There's no admission collected at the door. It's free. But it's a great time for everyone to get together, get to know all the other riders in the biking community, and listen to some good stuff. So it's next. It's the third Sunday of this month. The meeting starts at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, Mel, I thought I was going to be riding or walking over to the Moose Lodge from my house. But it turns out I'm going to have to be out of town for this one for another meeting. So I got to go to Austin. But, hey, it'll be great. Mel, what's next on the topic? Scatter shooting is what we're doing here. And, Mel, did you get that video I sent you today, that link?
I saw it. I have not had time to listen to it.
Oh, wait till you see this, Mel. And it has to do with Milam County.
Shit.
Have you ever heard of these First Amendment auditors?
No.
Yeah, there's a group. There's a group that runs around, and what they do is they go to police departments and courthouses and all these other places, and they do something that's legal, like taking pictures or some kind of that stuff like that. Maybe taking videos of police officers or the courthouses or whatever else. Anyway, Mel, on January 28th, they show up to the Milam County Courthouse. Now, January 28th, as I look back at the calendar, that's a Saturday. And it doesn't surprise me when a young man named Roth walked into the Milam County Courthouse and discovered nobody was at home. And, of course, I've done that, too, where you walk in there, there's nobody around. You can't find anybody. They may be upstairs or something, but you can't really find anybody. And so, yeah. I've been inside there like that, taking pictures, done everything else, go back outside, look and see what's going on. Well, anyway, this First Amendment auditor named Roth, he goes into the courthouse, doesn't find anybody at home, so he goes back outside. Now, he has a partner with him. Her name is Selena, but he looks around for something open. Now, you know how sleepy Cameron, Texas is. I mean, it's an awful sleepy little town. You can show up downtown there early in the morning. There's one black guy roaming around. And, of course, I found out through the bailiff that they destroyed his home, and so now he has no place to live. Evidently, it didn't meet city code or whatever else, but, that's who you find roaming around downtown early in the morning. So anyway, this young Mr. Roth, he sees the tax office. And he goes over into the tax office, and I guess he goes in there and starts asking some questions or something. I don't know exactly what he said. But the people in the tax office, not knowing who he was or what he was doing, and of course, I'm sure he was videoing them with his cell phone. Now, that sent them into a panic there, and they've got panic buttons in that tax assessor's office. Well, needless to say, here they come. I mean, it's worse than Alice's Restaurant. Police department, sheriff's department, everybody else, probably the fire department, ambulance, and no telling what else. So they go in there, and the high sheriff shows up, and the sheriff takes his phone away from him. That's one of the first things he does. They call it his gimbal. I guess he's got the phone on something. And so he takes his phone away from him, and he looks at the video there for a minute, and he confiscates his phone. First of all, that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. So then the sheriff gets there, and they decide they're going to arrest him. So the First Amendment auditors get word of this, and so they're calling around, they're asking the sheriff, well, what are the charges? He says, listen to this, Mel. He says, we don't know, but we're going to get with the judge in the morning and figure it out.
Oh, geez.
So they take him to jail with no charges, and the sheriff is going to collude with the judge to find a charge. I mean, if this is not telling, if this is not a perfect example of collusion, I don't know what is, Mel.
Well, it's a perfect example of unlawful detention, first of all.
Exactly. I have a feeling that the Milam County Police Department and Sheriff's Department may be in some kind of trouble by the end of this one. And especially if we find out that the judge colluded with the police officer. He didn't go to the DA, went straight to the freaking judge.
Yeah, I mean, would it not be the district attorney that would figure out what the charge is?
Well, or even if he wants to take it to court.
Right.
Yeah. Hello?
Just cut him right out of the loop.
Yeah. If that's what happened. We don't really know what happened there, but that's what the sheriff said.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. Now, why they were in Milam County, I don't know. One of the videos, the video I sent you, mentioned our guy Patrick, who's on trial for criminal carry. And Mel, right now that that appeal has not left the launching pad. If you know what I mean.
Right.
So was that the reason they were there? They mentioned him, and they mentioned that he was on trial for criminal carry. And so, we'll put a link up at texasbikerradio.org so everybody can go watch that video. And it'll be under the scatter shooting title in the news section. Mel, let's move on. Let's go worldwide, and let's talk about the Iranian situation. And Mel, I'd asked several former combat soldiers today what they thought about taking out that number 2 general with the Iranian forces and instigating instability in Iraq. And one thing that was told to me, and I agree with it, is that this guy was in the theater of operation. He was working to destabilize and working to kill American soldiers, planning attacks, whatever else. And so he is a legitimate target.
Bad dude.
He's a legitimate target, is what they called him. A legitimate target in the theater of operation. And so that's all we need to know. And I guess if they want to take it further, and Mel, this is the way I look at it. This has been brewing since 1979. We're going to have to take those bastards on sooner or later.
Oh, I know. It just grows and goes. I even heard tonight. I was watching Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, first of all, let me digress a little bit. Probably the funniest thing I've heard is the Iraqi parliament voted to have the U.S. troops leave Iraq.
Yeah.
The Pentagon is saying, we have no plans of leaving Iraq.
Right. Right.
I don't know what the hell the Iraqis plan on doing about that, but
yeah.
Good luck.
You know, Mel.
At any rate, I heard tonight, and this was on Fox News,
Mm-hmm.
The big Fox channel,
Mm-hmm.
In a commentary, because they've been talking about, Trump or whoever is blaming Obama for what's happened with Iran and, pandering to them and giving them money instead of taking them out and the whole bit. So they were on there, some of their staffers were on there trying to come back on this. But what was fun was the moderator said, well, wait a minute. We've talked to some Obama staffers that have openly admitted they have been in the background talking to some of the Iranians, telling them, just hang on until Trump loses an election and he'll be out of office and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh, really?
Can you believe that shit? Can you believe that?
That is fraternizing with the enemy, don't you believe?
Oh, I mean, they ought to be hung, shot, or drawn and quartered.
Yeah.
Take your choice. But that's exactly what should happen.
I mean, they're working for the death of American citizens, and in particular, our soldiers. Now,
had I seen that on Facebook, I probably would have not given it a lot of credibility. But there it is, coming across the airwaves on the big Fox channel.
Mm-hmm. From what I understand, the Iranians are the main culprits behind all those roadside devices. The technology, the training, and everything else goes back to them.
Absolutely.
And we look at how many wounded warriors we have, how many soldiers we have with missing limbs, and that's in the tens of thousands. That goes directly back to them. And that's enough right there to warrant big action against the Iranian military and whoever else wants to step up, in my opinion. And I think there's plenty we can do to them in short order that would have them yelling uncle.
Yeah, I just don't think they have the guts to pull the trigger.
Yeah. We'll find out. Of course, what we see going on in the streets, what we see going on in Iraq is political theater for the media. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They shouldn't be showing that at all. But we know how they are. We know how the media operates. And they're going to do everything they can do to undermine our troops. And that's a fact. It happened during the Vietnam era, and it continues to happen today. That's where we're at. That's the kind of media we have. So, I'm okay with taking those folks on. Just my opinion. Everybody else might have theirs.
Sooner or later, we can either do it over there or we're going to end up doing it in the street.
That's exactly right. We'll have our grandkids fighting these suckers in the streets. And we shouldn't have let this problem fester this long.
I've also read that our young men snowflakes are being stressed out. They actually crashed the Selective Service website, checking to see. I guess if they had registered, if their name was still in there, I don't know what the hell they were doing.
Oh yeah, they're all in a panic.
They got them all in a dither.
Yeah. And you know, most of them should recognize that they probably wouldn't pass muster. They wouldn't be a desirable candidate as a troop. Our troops nowadays have to have intelligence.
Yep.
So, and our troops have to be of moral character. Unlike our politicians, who have none of that. None of it. And especially when they're willing to undermine our troops. We'll be keeping a close eye on that, Mel. And if our troops need backing, we're damn sure going to give it to them. And those whose constitutional rights are in peril, we're going to give them all the help we can get. And Mel, we'll see what goes on with Mr. Roth of the First Amendment auditors.
Yep.
With that, buddy, hey, the reason we're on tonight, instead of in a Wednesday or Thursday night like we usually do, I'm having some minor surgery done tomorrow, and I probably won't feel like talking the next few days. So we decided to come on tonight and get it done.
That's right.
That's right. And with that, everybody, have a great evening. It has been a beautiful weekend and weekday here in Texas.
Beautiful riding weather.
Yeah, it's almost like California weather. It gets up in this close to 70 during the day, and then it gets cooler at night. It's wonderful. Great riding weather. We went to the International Motorcycle Show in Dallas yesterday. It was good fun. And great to get out and ride and be alive. With that, everybody, ride safe and have a great week.
Ride safe. Good night.
Bye-bye.